Accessibility, convenience, and unique content in a never-ending supply. The world of podcasts is huge. Have you jumped on the podcast listening bandwagon yet? Tiff and Micaela are next, sharing their favorite pods and what keeps them coming back for more.
Hi, Micaela.
Hi.
This is our first time doing a podcast together.
Together, yeah.
This is very exciting.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in good hands.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
We've been playing this game for like 2 years now.
Okay, so you're pro.
So, no, I won't say pro, but I'm doing it. We're doing the thing. So we're going to talk about podcasts. We're going to be super meta and have a podcast about podcasts.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. So why podcasts? Why do more and more people turn to podcasts?
I think the answer to that is a little sad.
Oh.
I think that people in such an age where we're very, very isolated from each other, we turn to parasocial relationships, and podcasts are a very good way to do that in a way. Podcasts are a very good way to have a parasocial relationship because it's the same personalities every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they are so conversational that it feels like you are just hanging out with your friends in a room, even though you're not. And also, not only are you kind of hanging out with people virtually, but you're doing so in a way where you're not vulnerable to like your social anxiety.
That's true. And like, I like the idea of just having an accessible medium. Like, I can't drive and read a book at the same time, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not that awesome. But I can listen to stories online.
Yeah.
I can listen to people telling amazing tales or giving me advice or giving me instructionals. And it's great. And it kind of reminds me of like the old-timey radio shows that used to exist.
Yeah.
My grandfather had these tapes called Suspense, and he used to put them into an old radio. Looked like an old radio and made us listen to them. And I loved it. It kind of like, it spun my creativity. It made me make mental pictures. And that's what I feel like. I'm still like the 8-year-old just sitting in my grandfather's couch, just listening to these amazing stories being told.
That's cute. That's really sweet.
Oh, yeah.
When you said accessible at first, I thought you meant as in like, because the internet democratizes everything.
Yeah.
And so everyone has a podcast.
Yeah, everybody has a podcast.
The cost to entry is so low.
It's a good thing, though. I mean,
it is a good thing.
It's a free speech platform.
Yes.
I mean, you can go online and get a $25 setup and still have a podcast and pay, the X amount of money per month.
Or you can get a membership at your local community access channel.
Ooh, that was a plug. I like the wink. That was a nice, there you go. So let's get to it. What is the podcast that you are listening to a lot right now?
Morbid.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, very, very popular.
Very popular.
Yeah, so I thought I would get on the bandwagon.
Local.
Yes, that's also a huge reason why I love it. I love hearing people say like wicked out of a sudden, like flip into the accent. And also they do a lot of Massachusetts stories and episodes, which is great because Massachusetts and New England in particular is like an incredibly spooky place in terms of history and also fiction. Mm-hmm. And people don't always realize that. They get reminded every once in a while when it's the fall, but less so during the rest of the year. And I think we should be known for that.
So for the folks playing at home, what is Morbid about?
Morbid is two women. I believe they're actually like aunt and niece, but they're more like sisters. Mm-hmm. So Elena and Ash, and one of them is a hairdresser, Ash, who's the younger one, and the older one is Elena, who is actually an autopsy technician.
That's the coolest job ever.
I don't know. I mean, no.
Really? No?
I mean, I understand why people like it, but I just couldn't.
Oh, I think it's so interesting.
Yeah, I just think about my own mortality enough. I wouldn't want to do that at work. More than I usually do.
My cousin's a funeral director, and I just ask him ridiculous questions.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, can you stop? It's Easter. I'm eating ham. Like, can you just cut it out? But no, I won't. I refuse. And the Morbid's like that. I've listened to a couple of episodes. I'm not too far in. My wife and I are starting from the beginning, which is going to take a while because they started in 2018. So yeah, we got a little way to go. Yeah. But I listened to a couple of them and they're great. And I do like the commentary. Sometimes I don't, but I like their commentary.
Yeah, because they're also genuinely like respectful while also being funny. Like they will cheer on the victims and the survivors and they will like completely roast the perpetrators. They don't glorify it,
Right.
which is really hard to do. I think a lot of people definitely glorify it. Serial killers are just losers. Like, genuinely, if you ask an FBI agent, they're just the biggest losers.
With mommy issues.
A lot of them, yeah, most of them,
Issues.
all of them. They're just the biggest losers, and so we shouldn't be glamorizing them because there's nothing to glamorize.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like polishing, it's putting lipstick on a pig.
That's a good way of putting
I was
it.
going to say something else, but I couldn't say that on here.
You can't say that on
No.
television. Or on your podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I listened to, there was this one story about this satanic cult. It was like one of the first episodes.
Was it in the Bridgewater Triangle?
No, it wasn't the Bridgewater Triangle. This one I think was not local.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe no, it wasn't local. But it's about this like group that actually made a human sacrifice. And then it was just from start to finish, it was just the saddest, like scariest story. And like
Yeah.
you gotta ask yourself, where are the parents?
No.
Where are the parents?
Permissive parenting. Welcome to the stage, permissive parenting.
Well, I mean, like in the 80s and 90s, they had this thing on TV that would air at like 10 o'clock at night. Be like,
Yeah.
do you know where your children are? And I feel like that should be brought back.
Yeah, I actually have Life 360 on my phone because my mom would bug me about like, text me when you get there. And so if I forget, she'll be like, are you okay? Are you okay? I just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so she'll be like, I saw you got home. I'm like, great.
Well, I'm a geriatric millennial, so my parents weren't
Yeah.
that in depth into where we were.
Yeah.
But,
I had to set it up for her.
oh.
She's a boomer. Literally. No, she literally fits the very young boomer, but she just makes the cut.
She did it.
She
She did it.
did.
She made the cut.
Yeah, she did.
So why do you think true crime is like a thing? You have a theory about this.
I do, specifically when it comes to like women or like vulnerable people in general, which
Okay.
is, you know, like when you're a young kid, especially, you know, if like you're a girl, you are told like do X, Y, and Z because, you know, people are out there to harm you. You're vulnerable. And it almost kind of like the onus is completely on, in these cases, like the victim, like if you didn't do X, Y, and Z, then this is going to happen to you. So I think that for women in particular, listening to true crime is like a catharsis because it's one, confronting your fears that you've been taught to be afraid of, and you're also educating yourself of like, how do I get out of this thing? How do I do this? Like everyone has a secret escape plan to get out of their house. And now it's like everyone has a secret escape plan if they meet a serial killer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. They literally have the blueprint for like podcasts and television and movies. Like it gives you a blueprint, like how do you survive this?
Oh, yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of people are surviving these crazy situations because art has told them and given them a handbook,
Yes.
which is great. That's a
Yeah.
really interesting thought. I like that. All right. Well, I digress. Like I want to talk about my podcast, not my personal podcast, the podcast that
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with. Lore, which is this guy named Aaron Mahnke, and I love his
Yeah.
voice. I have like such a friend crush on him, not a boy crush, a friend crush. And he lives in Western Mass, and he tells the origin stories of just like the crazy, like vampires and
Yeah.
werewolves. But he'll also talk about like Lizzie Borden, for example, and like certain things. There was this one about this crazy house where this crazy murders took place, and people stay overnight. And he kind of went into all the detail of the accounts that they've had while staying there. It's great. There's not a lot of commentary, which I prefer, but he'll give you like little tidbits of just like,
Yeah.
isn't that weird? Or like, he doesn't really go crazy. He gives you facts, and I like that about
Yeah.
it.
Aaron Mahnke's like, he writes it all out.
He does.
Yes.
He also has the show. He made a show out of it called Lore.
Yeah.
It's on Prime, which is great. And then also he has a couple of them. He's like Aaron Mahnke's Cabinet of
my gosh.
Curiosities.
Aaron, I forgot your name for a second. Sorry,
Mahnke.
Aaron. You really get in the bag.
Yeah.
That's great.
And he has the same lines every time, and his voice is just so like accessible. And it's just, I'm Aaron Mahnke, and this is Lore. And at the end, he'll be like, stop by my socials and say hi. I like when people say hi, and I'm like, oh, it's really cute.
I feel like I like when people say hi. It can mean something different depending on how you say it and who's saying
Oh,
it.
you took it to a dark place.
I did.
You took it there.
I told you I'm very existential.
I love it. I've never met a person who's darker than me. I'm very excited.
I don't know. I think you should talk to more Zoomers.
More Zoomers.
Yeah, that's just kind of like our thing.
What's a Zoomer? I'm a geriatric millennial. You're gonna have to.
Gen Z, so just after
Is
millennial.
that what is? Oh,
Gen Z.
Oh, I'm a geriatric. I was born in '85, so you gotta.
That's not geriatric.
It's pretty. I have my days. I
Yeah,
have
but
my
you
days.
had like the fun Like those are the
I
better
remember
eras.
life before the internet.
I remember it a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah, because I was born 99.
Oh,
So I do remember like having CDs, or I had VHS tapes. And I remember like having like an old Dell desktop that like would take forever to turn on and would crash
did you have Prodigy? I think Prodigy was before your time.
a little bit. I don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
Prodigy was like one of the first internet services. It was madness. And
No,
they
I just
the,
had Internet Explorer.
Did you have the dial-up?
No.
Oh, you didn't have the dial-up.
No.
You didn't. You
Didn't
missed
suffer.
You missed a whole period of time where it's like, and that's how you. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the noise. It's insane noise.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think they're going from here?
More video, like you said.
Yeah.
Probably more live shows. And because of this parasocial element, I'm sure, and I can't think of any, ideas, but I think it's going to lean more and more into interactivity.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I think it will.
That's an interesting thought. I think I love the idea of a podcast. I love the idea of being a person who can just to have my thoughts shared on a platform. It's a free speech. It does not discriminate. You can be anybody and have a podcast. And I want to see that. Like I want to see. I know everything gets commercialized. I know it's going to all get commercialized.
Already has.
It already has. And
Casper mattress.
What is?
Casper mattress. Oh wait, you can't do that.
No.
Oh, we can't be like the things that are always being like, okay, the same ads over and over again. Okay, sorry.
It's the same. Seriously, I listen to Dateline a lot, and it's the same 3 advertisements every 5 seconds. It's so sad. I just want to hear about murder. Why? Why can't I just hear about murder?
So you are darker than me.
I do like murder. I mean, I don't personally want to murder anyone, but I like the topic.
I think people just love a good story.
Yeah. I think I like the sociology. I think I like hearing about how people tick.
Yes.
And because I can't imagine that life for myself. I'm sure most people cannot. But to hear about other walks of life that are just a little bit off the beaten track.
I love the detective aspect of it. I love it's like how does this conundrum get solved? Mm-hmm. And also and I think Morbid's good about this because they do a good job of like cheering on the survivors when someone in the story is like surviving or fighting back.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying and it's awesome. It's a good feeling.
I love it. All right. I want to go listen to a podcast, but we got to go back to work.
Yeah, we do.
Let's go back to work.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Why aren't you at your desk right now?
You told me to be here.
Yeah, right.
And you're my boss, so I can't really say no.
Oh, okay. I'm on a power trip now. Okay. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button before you go. We'll see you next time.